The EDUCAS WJEC specification asks us to consider agape as the boss principle of situation ethics and Fletcher's 4 working principles. The 6 fundamental propositions will be considered in a later film. Only one general proposition is prescribed, and this is the commandment to love God through the neighbour. This is often described as the boss principle of situation ethics. As Fletcher says, what a difference it makes when love, understood agapeically, is boss, when love is the only norm. How free and therefore responsible we are. Here Fletcher is referring to actions being for the sake of others rather than a rigid adherence to law. Agape is concern for the well-being of a neighbour or even an enemy. It is an attitude rather than a feeling. The commandments that have been treated as absolute laws in the past are seen by Fletcher as maxims rather than rules. A commandment that states we should tell the truth or not kill are illuminators and guides, but must be disregarded if obedience to them means that love is not served. Fletcher gives medical examples where rigid obedience of law might prevent a doctor revealing to a young woman that she is about to marry a man with an STD, or might prevent a doctor from performing the sterilization of a woman with a heart condition who would risk death if she became pregnant again. Fletcher states that the Greek word agape is easier to understand when describing this boss principle. Agape is goodwill in partnership with reason. It is a living principle that embodies the spirit of all other laws that are found within the Torah and means that they can be disregarded if they are not loving in practice. Agape is not desire. It is different from friendship and romantic love, which are selective, exclusive and emotional. Agape is an attitude of benevolence, literally goodwill. It is unsentimental, loving of the unloving and undeserving. The 4 working principles are described by Fletcher as presuppositions. This means that they are believed to be true without the possibility of having any proof. The first working principle or presupposition is pragmatism. Pragmatism means being practical. It is an approach that was prevalent in the work of William James and recognises that reason cannot act as a bridge to bring people across the gap between doubt and faith. If a person is to have faith in God and love, then that faith will not be achieved through a process of reasoning. Therefore, sometimes to make progress, we must do what is most practical. This is the approach that is mentioned by Paul in 1 Corinthians 6:12 when he said, "All things are lawful for me, but not all things are beneficial." It is a stance of choosing what is constructive or what works rather than what is supposed to be lawful. St. Paul was pointing out that whilst new Christians could consider themselves free from the law, that did not mean that any behaviour at all was good. In agreement, Fletcher stated that to be morally correct or right, a thing, a thought or an action must work. The end to which an action should work is a meta-ethical question that relies on faith or commitment to an idea. Only after it has been decided what we are to have faith in can ethics go to work. Here the idea or aim that must be worked towards is love. The ethical action must practically work towards the goal of love.